International Space Station's National Lab is a unique testbed for research in the areas of biology, biotechnology, physical and materials sciences, as well as Earth and space sciences. ISS research has resulted in major scientific breakthroughs and real benefits to humanity.
We're learning something new about how disease is happening that we can't learn down here with the force of gravity. What my team works with, it's the leading cause of death of young adults and children worldwide, kills 35% of people globally. In the United States alone, it's a huge problem for us here economically.
Salmonella is one of the leading causes of foodborne illness in the U.S. and is the #1 cause of death from foodborne illness.
My team showed that culturing pathogens in the unique environment of microgravity opens up new windows in terms of how they're causing disease in our body that we can't see when we grow them down here conventionally.
In microgravity, the Salmonella pathogen has shown an increase in virulence or an increased ability to cause disease.
Microgravity is an extreme environment. And every time, as scientists, we have pushed living organisms, cells, organisms themselves, to grow, to thrive, to live in extreme environments. We've learned enormous things about how life survives under these conditions, and what's even more, we've been able to take these novel insights for how these cells are behaving to extreme environments and translate them into products that we use on a daily basis. The general public of America needs to understand the value to them to solve major challenges of human health and quality of life, not just for this country, globally.
There is a question as old as time, heard round the world and in every heart. It thrills the imagination and gives wings to possibility. Its footsteps fill history, and its hands hold destiny. It whispers in the dark, and its echo shakes the earth. The question called to those who came before, and they answered with the incredible. It urged them to start small and think infinite, to pursue possibilities and dream no small dream, to see a future filled with hope and unite to build something better. Working together, they connected continents. Building the future of flight, they unlocked the stars. Leading their generation, they inspired ours. To dream high and fly far, to bind together and build the future. To lead our world and find new ones. To honor their legacy and leave our own. Our founders heard the call, and their answer lives on. From ocean waves to the edge of space, through our first century and into the next. Their memory remains. Now, it's our turn. The question is calling louder than ever. What will we dream next?
I had this professor. He would always tell us the story about Admiral Grace Hopper. She was Harvard educated. She was a computer science expert. And she had this saying, the most dangerous phrase in the world is, "We've always done it this way."
Breaking the model is the best way to foster innovation. Rear Admiral Grace Hopper knew this, and so did the thousands of scientists, engineers, and revolutionary thinkers who have brought us to the forefront of global technology. Tried and true practices allowed innovators of the past to answer the unique challenges they faced. The bar was placed high.
We choose to go to the moon.
And a solid foundation was set. But the paradigm is shifting to a smaller, more agile commercial way of doing business. Today's innovators are building upon those foundations and reaching to the future. Challenges of tomorrow will be solved by the businesses who are responsibly revolutionizing the approach to global problems. Strong collaborations will allow businesses to view innovation through fresh eyes. It's time once again to disrupt our thinking. Raytheon is proactively seeking to facilitate innovative partnerships with businesses. By leveraging our mission expertise, we will continue to break the mold. Our customers will reach new heights from the ideas generated, allowing them to exceed their expectations. Join us as we reach to the future. The commercialization of space has begun.
NATO intelligence reports indicate the threat of ballistic missiles is increasing in number and complexity. By 2018, all of Europe will be at risk. From sensors to interceptors, Raytheon's proven ballistic missile defense systems provide layered defense around the world. Defending the continent requires a robust system of integrated land, sea, and space ballistic missile defense assets. As a forward-based mode ANTP-2 radar deployed in Turkey continuously searches the sky, it detects launch of an intermediate-range ballistic missile headed toward European population centers. The radar discriminates between threats and non-threats before passing critical information to NATO Headquarters Allied Air Command, Ramstein, Germany. NATO relays the target information to sensors and fire control commanders across Europe. The Netherlands frigate in the Aegean receives the ANTP-2Q through NATO and starts tracking the threat with its upgraded SMART-L radar. The frigate passes threat data to a German frigate in the Adriatic Sea that is optimally positioned for engagement. The German frigate launches Standard Missile 3 in response. Launching on the remote queue provided by the Netherlands frigate extends the engagement range, expands the battle space, and allows earlier elimination of the threats. Standard Missile 3, or SM-3's long range allows it to defend large geographic areas and their populations across all of Europe. The APAR radar communicates threat information to the SM-3. Within minutes of launch, the sheer force of impact obliterates the threat high above the Earth's atmosphere. Raytheon's integrated air and missile defense assets continue to watch the skies, day and night, keeping the U.S. and allies safe around the world. They are real, proven, and deployed around the world today. Raytheon, customer success is our mission.
And to all of you out there, go Navy.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, Minnesota Public Radio and the U.S. Navy. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
Copy that.
Years ago, the world escaped the clutches of extinction. We must never forget our survival is only possible when we stand together. We have found strength and unity as a planet, and that strength has brought us the power to survive.
When the world was brought to its knees, the Army was there to fight back. Promised us that this would never happen again. They have been the driving force in uniting nations around the world to form the most powerful weapon against another attack. The Earth-Space Defense. Brave men and women of the ESD are making sure that the War of '96 will never happen again. Join Earth-Space Defense. Next time, we will be prepared.
As messages from the gods, as supernatural winds that blew from the realm of spirits. Modern science has linked these polar light shows, called auroras, to vast waves of electrified gas hurled in our direction by the sun. Today, researchers from a whole new generation see this dynamic substance, plasma, as an energy source that may one day fuel humanity's expansion into space. What can we learn? And how far can we go? By tapping into the strange and elusive fourth state of matter. A small cadre of scientists has come to Fairbanks, Alaska, to realize what may seem an impossible dream: to revolutionize space travel. Dr. Ben Longmire and his team from the University of Michigan have designed a whole new type of rocket engine that promises a faster and more efficient way to get around in space. They're here to test components of this rocket by sending them aboard helium balloons to an altitude of 30 kilometers into the harsh environment of space. Above the North and South Poles, conditions are about as harsh as you can get. Our planet is bombarded with a steady stream of charged particles from the sun. Earth's magnetic field accelerates and channels them, turning the night into a spectacle of color.
1985. The Pentagon. The U.S. military has been locked into a Cold War with the Soviet Union for nearly 40 years. Russia versus the U.S. Spy versus spy. Each determined to gain control of the ultimate high ground, space.
The Soviets would put up satellites frequently, take pictures, and very, very accurately keep up with United States military forces. They could very quickly launch satellites in a matter of hours and launch a lot of them.
The Pentagon sees the satellites as a dangerous threat to national security. In theory, the F-15 made sense.
It was powerful enough that it could carry a 3,000-pound rocket, and it could carry it to the altitudes and at the velocities that would allow the rocket to launch and go up into space.
It sounds like science fiction, but it was a very real plan with very high stakes. The satellite chosen for destruction, an out-of-date American research satellite called P-78-1. The man chosen to destroy it, Major General Pearson. September 13th, 1985, Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. At 12:40 in the afternoon, Pearson straps into his F-15. There's a 2,700-pound, 18-foot-long missile mounted to the jet's center line. This is actual video from his flight.
Region 5, right to that approval report base.
The satellite is 345,000 feet above the Earth. It's moving at 23,000 feet per second. Once his F-15 reaches 30,000 feet, Pearson has just a 10-second window to fire the missile. If his timing is off, he'll miss it completely.
Mark waypoint 2 at 0.86 Mach.
Rocketing into the air, Pearson pulls the F-15 into a steep climb. At 35,000 feet, he fires. An infrared honing device on the rocket guides it as it heads into the sky. The F-15 has done what no other plane has been able to do: conquer the heavens. Shooting down the satellite sends a strong message to the Soviets.
There are powerful forces at work in the universe. From man-made explosions to Mother Nature's devastating destruction, to epic blasts of unbelievable cosmic power. All of them reveal a universe of lurking perils, like exploding stars, apocalyptic asteroid impacts, and invisible jets of radiation streaming across the universe. The cosmos is a place of ever-present danger. But what's amazing is that in the entire universe, nothing is more powerful than the colossal explosion that created it all, the Big Bang.
The Big Bang is an amazingly difficult thing to wrap your brain around, which isn't surprising. When you're trying to think about the universe being smaller than the head of a pin,
Actually, smaller than an atom, about as small as the proton at the center of an atom. Whatever the universe was at the very beginning, some 13.7 billion years ago, we think it was tiny, an infinitesimal nugget of space. And then, something happened, triggering the most colossal explosion in history. In a billionth of a billionth of a billionth of a second, the universe grew from the size of that tiny point to something billions of miles across. This colossal blast created everything, all the matter we see in the universe today. And it did all this without even making a sound.
When one sees the Big Bang portrayed in a film, there's always a big bang, a noise. Of course, that's silly because sound doesn't propagate in space. But what's often overlooked is that the Big Bang is not just an explosion that happened at some moment in time at some point in space.
It was not just an explosion of material into an empty universe that was sitting there waiting to be filled. It was the explosion of space and time into existence to begin with.
And that's what trips most of us up. Before the Big Bang, there was nothing, literally nothing. And the black void of space is something. So is time.
To ask what's before the Big Bang, what's before there is time, is really a meaningless question. And likewise, to ask where the Big Bang occurred is meaningless because there was no space.
International condemnation is guaranteed. And yet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un still persists with satellite launches, which the West sees as veiled missile tests. Why? First of all, Pyongyang has never really allowed criticism or even UN sanctions to allow it to deviate from its chosen path. Kim Jong-un has inherited this space program from his father, the late Kim Jong-il, and he has accelerated the progress. He has pumped billions of dollars into this program. He has opened a new satellite control center, he has updated the launch site, and he's attempted 3 launches in just the last 4 years. Pyongyang insists that this most recent satellite launch is peaceful. If so, what exactly does Kim Jong-un get out of this? Well, a working satellite can allow for broadcasting, for mapping, for weather forecasting, and of course, for gathering intelligence. But if, as much of the world suspects, this is in fact a front for a long-range missile test, the benefits for the North are even greater. A rocket that launches a satellite is essentially the same as a rocket that would launch a nuclear warhead. To progress, you have to test, and Kim Jong-un's scientists would learn something very valuable from each and every satellite launch, even if it wasn't deemed a success. So what about the timing? Kim Jong-un holds a very rare party conference in May. The Workers' Party Congress has not been held for 36 years, and to be able to boast about not only a nuclear test but a satellite launch would strengthen his hand. As for repercussions, Kim Jong-un may not be too concerned about that, considering the international differences of opinion when it came to how strong UN sanctions should be following the January 6th nuclear test.